Chelsea Football Club have got a massive decision to make, and Alexander Isak is not ruled out. There have been new stories that are coming out that are basically saying there's a chance. It's a faint one, but there's a chance because a deal broke down with Liverpool. I'll tell you the scoop on that one. We've got Leicester City, so they're rejecting a bid for Dewsbury-Hall. What are Chelsea doing? We need to talk about that. Carney Chukwuemeka to AC Milan, and AC Milan are doing that classic thing that irritates me, and I don't like the fact that this is even a conversation, and we're gonna have to break it down. Omari Hutchinson, here we go. We have got a wonderful deal out of Ipswich. When I tell you the breakdown of this deal, you're gonna say, you know what, Win Stanley and Lawrence Stewart actually know what they're doing, Gaffer. That's what you're gonna tell me in the comments below. And finally, we have got three here, like confirmations through clubs. 3 players have officially left or joined the club. We need to talk about it, we need to make it official, and we need to smile on our faces. However, before we get started, I need you lot to do me a massive favor. Hit the like button. Listen, it's free of charge. It costs you nothing. It burns a calorie. You can eat more food. 1 calorie you'll burn you to hit that button. And finally, subscribe to the channel if you like this video, right? Subscribe because it's the best way to help me grow this channel and reach more people and build a wider community. And it just makes you a nicer person. But now, let's start. The dream of Chelsea acquiring Alexander Isak is not over. Alexander Isak is a striker that will take our number 9 position to the next level. I've seen certain people say, what can Isak do that Jackson can't? We'll start with finish, okay? I really like Nicholas Jackson. I think Nicholas Jackson could be an incredible left winger. However, I am really reserved when it comes to his finishing. Nicholas Jackson's finishing is sometimes preposterous, sometimes very good, sometimes absolutely horrible. You don't know what you're gonna get, right? He literally goes like this. 1 minute it's a brilliant header and you're like, what a great header. Next minute he goes around the keeper and passes it backwards when there's an empty net because he doesn't trust his left foot. However, back to the story. Why is there news? Because 2 days ago, Fabrizio and Matt Law both came out and said, Chelsea won't pay those wages. Well, what has happened is news has come out that Anthony Gordon was set to join Liverpool. Yes, Liverpool earlier this week, but the deal broke down. And why did it break down? Newcastle had a change of heart. Newcastle have got PSR issues apparently, and they need to sell before the 30th of June. And these reports are coming out from Northeast correspondents in Craig, I think his name is Craig Hope, and he's explaining how the deal was cash plus Jarrell Kwanzaa for Anthony Gordon. However, the deal broke down. So Newcastle still have to find the finance. And Matt Law now is coming out and saying this deal to Chelsea can happen in 2 conditions. And the 2 conditions are either Newcastle drop their valuation of the player, which is around about £120 million. This is the key one. Chelsea can include players in the way Liverpool were going to include players. And we all know Chelsea have got an abundance of players. And we've seen clubs do this to not avoid PSR, but to meet the requirements of PSR. Because there's nothing wrong with doing this. Italian clubs have been doing this for years. Basically, you buy this player off us for this fee, and we buy this player off you, and it helps both clubs to balance the books. Because I'm interested in this player, you're interested in this player, rather than doing a direct swap, why don't we just pay the monies and then do the accounting around it? And what players could be up for grabs for Newcastle? Armando Broja, good upside on the player, could be up for grabs. Of course, we'd have to pay money. Conor Gallagher, Chelsea are looking to move him. People aren't liking it, but it's the truth. Trevor Chalobah is looking for a European club or a club that has got aspirations to be in Europe. Then we've got Datro Fofana, Cesar Casadei, and there are so many players at this moment in time that Chelsea could include because of the way they have constructed the squad in recent years. One thing that Chelsea have done with these low wages, it makes these players easier to move. What Arsenal was struggling with now, and I'm using them as an example, is they gave Eddie Nketiah, I think it was 100k a week. They gave Reece Nelson 100k a week. And the problem with 100k a week is you're not getting transfer value in return for that, because the clubs are, hold on, we're paying these players to come join us because they've got expectation of those salaries. So it makes the situation a bit more complicated. I'm not saying I think we're going to get this deal across the line, but I am saying there is potential for this deal to become realistic, and it's in the next few days. When it comes to balancing the books, apparently Chelsea are taking this to the next. All right, so when it came to Dewsbury-Hall, a lot of people done this, and I hate when they do this. Enzo Maresca used to manage him. It's his request. They're getting him the player he wants. It's mathing. The math is math. Well, your math's not mathing because you're predicting and you're guessing. And Nazir Cancella came out with an article stating this has got nothing to do with rejected Enzo Maresca. Enzo Maresca did not ask for Dewsbury-Hall. This is the sporting directors using their resources and deciding that this player is worth going after. They've asked Enzo, do you like this player? He said yes, and vouched for the player's character and his footballing ability. That's a completely different thing to say that Enzo asked for the player. He basically gave an opinion when he was asked. For me, this is evidence that they just rate the player. However, this is where it gets interesting. Leicester have rejected one initial bid for Dewsbury-Hall. We don't know the value. We just know this from Matt Law. He said there was a bid rejected. I am praying this deal doesn't go through. Whilst I think Dewsbury-Hall is a good player, and the more compilations I watched, the more I'm like, you know what, this guy looks decent. And then I saw his numbers in the championship. I'm like, okay, this looks decent, but I'm not convinced. I don't think we need him. Genuinely, this isn't a hit against the quality of the player. This is more so just what do we have in our squad? And what I think we have in our squad is more than sufficient to suffice. At this moment, let's look at it. We've got Enzo Caicedo, Lavia. Love it. Backups. Andre Santos and Carney Chukwuemeka. Love it. We don't need any more. If you need a third midfielder, Cole Palmer can play in there. Christopher Nkunku can play the number 10 role. And in games where we're playing against deep blocks, they can be that left-hand-sided midfielder, the way, Kevin De Bruyne does the role, the way Bernardo Silva does the role, the way Alvarez sometimes does the role for Manchester City. Because the reality is, we need to be controlling team in possession rather than giving up the ball and doing all unnecessary extra running. So adding Dewsbury-Hall into this midfield, it just seems very counterproductive when I believe he is a mold of Carney Chukwuemeka, and Carney's going to be better. That's just my personal opinion. Carney's biggest issue is he can't stay fit. And yes, people get annoyed when I say that because it's the case for many of our players. Carney's the one that's proven the least at this moment in time. And let's talk about Carney now. The news coming out regarding Carney Chukwuemeka's future is worrying me, and I don't like it. I really don't. I think Carney Chukwuemeka is a phenomenal footballer. I watch him and I say, this is a proper footballer. He gets it. The way he plays football, the way he expresses himself, he reminds me of a Ruben Loftus-Cheek when he first broke out. The way that he carries the ball, rides challenges, but what he does have is the ability to thread a great weighted pass through. I don't think Ruben had that. I think Ruben was more very like a twinkle toe ballerina to get past the players, but he didn't see the game slow down. Carney does. We've seen that with Carney in the box, whether it's the goal against Leicester, whether it's the goal against West Ham, whether it's his pass. He interchanges with players so well and has a give me the ball attitude, and that is imperative against low blocks. Yet, we're seeing rumours initially from Di Marzio that conversations have started with AC Milan to take the gentleman there on loan with an option, right? That was the first piece of news. Fab came out and debunked it. Fab said, Chelsea are not interested in a loan. Chelsea do not believe that the loan is beneficial for them. The only way he leaves if a big substantial offer comes in and it's a permanent deal. That's the only way he leaves. People are saying that final line is opening the door for him to leave. Guys, let me tell you something. Apart from 4, 5 or 6 players in this squad, right? A lot of these players are available at the right price. And honestly, if someone bids £40 million for Carney Chukwuemeka, I won't blame the club to accept it, because this is how the club look at it, not me. The club look at it this way. He's a young player that's on 100k a week. That's a lot more money than a lot of players like Malo Gusto, who's on 45k a week, right? Then, Carney's hardly played a whole year of football. He did it because he was injured. He's never had a career season where I think he's played more than 25 or 30 games. So he doesn't have a track record to believe in him, apart from the potential we see in him, apart from the glimpses we see in him. However, they're seeing it as he's 10 million on the book value. We can use that 40 million, get 30 million in profit, reinvest it into another young player who could come and do Carney's role, because Carney's hardly ever fit. I disagree with it. I think he's good. I think if you sort his fitness issues out, you've got a top player. So it's going to be very interesting what happens. The Secret Scout came out with, they want an option, right? AC Milan want an option to buy, and now Di Marzio's coming out with an obligation. I don't believe Di Marzio, I believe the Secret Scout, and I believe Fab. However, I do not want there to be an option, because you know what happens with options? Ian Matz, right? Oh, he goes there, he looks absolutely brilliant. We're all moaning all year, oh my god, he's absolutely brilliant. This is unacceptable. We shouldn't be letting him go. Every week we're going to be moaning because he's going to ball out, he's going to stay fit. And then what's going to happen is Milan are going to say, we don't want to pay the 35 million we agreed to. We're going to pay you 25. And then we're in limbo. Why? If you want to buy in Milan, pay the money now. Otherwise, leave us alone and go away. Like, honestly, it's as simple as that. Chelsea don't want to sell Carney Chukwuemeka based on Fabrizio's report. And they're happy with his development. I'm happy with his development. So, I hope he stays fit and smashes it for us next year. Don't get Dewsbury-Hall. That's my opinion. Omari Hutchinson had a very good season at Ipswich Town, and now it's earned him another move, and there's a here we go from Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio has given us the here we go. We understand the ramifications of this. It means that Omari Hutchinson is set to join Ipswich Town for £22 million. Arsenal get 10 to 15% of the profit of what we paid for him. It wasn't a free transfer. I think we paid 2 million. So from 20 million, they get 10 to 15% of that deal from that profit. Good on them. They get some money back because they developed him initially. However, Chelsea get a huge chunk of pure profit, right? That pure profit is going to be absolutely amazing. And it will balance the books. It'll make it look pretty for the accountants. Yeah. But what Chelsea have done in this deal that has really impressed me is they didn't burn bridges with Omari Hutchinson. What they did was there's a 25% sell-on fee. When Ipswich sell him, if he absolutely smashes it, Ipswich will give Chelsea 25% of that fee. And furthermore, Chelsea have the right to match. Meaning, if he gets very good, and say, for example, Liverpool want to buy him for 50 million, and Chelsea come in and say, oh, we're matching that fee, Chelsea gets to keep, have that fee accepted straight away. Meaning there's none of this, oh, but 25% of it is for you, so no, we're not accepting it. If you're accepting their fee, you're accepting our fee at the same number. And the reality is in this situation, that makes Chelsea all of a sudden want to keep good relationship with Omari Hutchinson. And if he bangs there and comes back, he'll be playing for Chelsea. So it's a win-win for Chelsea. It's a win-win for Omari, and it's a win-win for Ipswich in the sense that they're getting a really quality player that they know is proven at the championship level, but also fits in the system. So hopefully it translates for him in the league. Gotta love it. Got to see it. Good luck to him. Happy days. The final piece of news that we need to talk about is the 3 announced deals, right? And this is going to be super quick. Hakim Ziyech has officially left the club. He has joined Galatasaray on a free transfer. Phenomenal news for Hakim. It just didn't work out at Chelsea. Honestly, I made so many videos in the past about Hakim. I just never understood the hype. I never understood how frustrating he is. I never understood how inconsistent he was. And honestly, good for him. He gets a new fresh start. Hopefully it works out for him at Galatasaray. Ian Maatsen has officially joined Aston Villa for 37.5 million. Whilst I'm frustrated that he's not going to be a Chelsea player, I think it's tremendous money for the club. From a financial standpoint, great business. From a footballing standpoint, I'm a bit frustrated because I think he's better than Ben Chilwell. And I actually think he could do an as good, if not better job than Cucurella under Enzo Maresca's system. But it is what it is. We need to move on. Kellerman has officially joined Chelsea as well. He's been announced. And what I found very interesting was when I was listening to the London is Blue podcast with Matt Law, which was very interesting actually. He said Aston Villa have been really raving about this kid the same way as they were with Jack Grealish. And Chelsea wanted to act now in comparison to acting next year when he blows up. So the reality was Chelsea wanted to get this player regardless of this deal, and the opportunity arose, so they jumped at the chance. Hence why the fee is so high. But it is what it is, and it's actually good news. If you think about it long term, maybe he's going to come in and slap it, and maybe he is the replacement for Carney Chukwuemeka. I don't know. But I hope Chukwuemeka stays. I am getting worried about pathways, but that's a conversation for another day. That's why I don't want Dewsbury-Hall. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts. Peace out. I'm out. Have a lovely day.